My name is Derek Beaulieu, and I'm thrilled to be Calgary's new Poet Laureate. I'd like to thank Chris Demeanor for being such an exceptional poet for the last couple of years and really providing the city a voice and an activist who has brought literacy and poetry to our schools and to our audiences all over the city. It's been fabulous. Thank you, Chris. I'm thrilled to be in this position. I'm thrilled to be able to help the city out like this. I've been working and writing here in the city for my whole life. I first joined Filling Station magazine back in 1997. I've been writing, editing, publishing, and reading ever since then publicly. And Calgary has a literary community that is the envy of the world. Everywhere I travel, people ask what's going on in Calgary and are thrilled to hear about the quality of fiction writers, poets, nonfiction writers, and playwrights from Calgary all the time. So I'm absolutely enamored by this city. A lot of my friends believe that we don't read anymore, that we don't read poetry. And I think that's not the case. I think that we're actually surrounded by text. When we take the C train, there's ads back and forth across the cars. When we're waiting for the bus, there's advertisements everywhere. We're locked into our iPads and our books. We're constantly reading advertisements. We're surrounded by text, and we love to read and absorb all this material. I'm absolutely inspired by the text that we actually see on the streets, and I try to create work that responds to that kind of writing. I think the role of Poet Laureate is not just to read their own work for a couple years, but it's in fact to become more of a facilitator laureate, to create spaces for other writers and readers, for students, for emerging writers, and to actually try to help feature the writing and the literary history that's already been happening here in Calgary. This year, I had my creative writing students work with manual typewriters. I received donations from across the city, from the citizens and businesses of the city, donating old manual typewriters that I could use with my students. Each one of these students received a typewriter the first day of classes, and all of their assignments had to be created on these old antique machines. Every single one of them smells a little bit like grease. Every single one of them makes this joyful noise when you write, and it's really made the students aware of the physical nature of writing. It's been a fabulous exercise, and one that I hope to share with a series of workshops and chatting sessions across the city as Poet Laureate. Calgary, as I said, is the envy of the world. There's work going on that's world-renowned. Everybody's aware of what's going on here, and I'd like to help Calgary remember its own literary past. I'd like to help them be aware of the readings, the authors, the books, and the history that's been going on here in terms of the literary arts over 100 years. I think that the Poet Laureate is a unique position that is both honorary but also is activist. And I think that, I'm looking forward to the next couple of years of it being a challenging space to discuss what it means to be writing in a city like ours. I dream of bookshops. I dream of finding the perfect bookstore, the oniric storehouse of all the volumes which I knew existed just beyond my fingertips. When I explore corporeal bookshops, I always compare them unfavorably to those in my dreams. Like déjà vu or a faintly remembered conversation, there are few shops that hint at the possibilities. All of them suggest the antechambers of my imagined dreams, but these are merely appetizers for my yearned-for main course. Jorge Luis Borges famously said that he imagined that paradise would be some sort of library. I agree with him, though bookstores haunt my dreams. It is not unusual for me to dream of nondescript doors that open onto disheveled stacks and shelves, piles of maps and chapbooks, garret rooms of obscure titles, and rarely seen folios. While Borges said, "I cannot sleep unless I am surrounded by books," I often dream that books surround me. But the bookshops of my dreams are not filled with the stock of your average retailer. Instead, they inevitably contain eccentric books I've heard of but never held, fantastic tomes mentioned in literature, and unlikely volumes. All of these volumes are gathered in impossible stores that populate my dreamed streetscapes. Of course, the ironic thing about dreaming about bookshops and impossible work is that it is in fact impossible to read in your dreams. In dreams, books are merely the shelves of themselves. They point to bookness, but do not hold the texts for which my mind searches. In our oniric nighttime escapades, we are able to accomplish a myriad of impossible feats, but we cannot read. Text is just beyond the threshold of our mind's eye. The next time you recall your dreams, try to focus on any text you encountered. You can polish your glasses or tease out your range of bifocal vision, but you cannot read these texts like smoke. The matrix may cast us into convincing landscapes, but its ability for detail only reaches to a minimal level. Text floats in a gray, shifting field in our dreams. Newspaper headlines may be needed for a realistic street scene, but the articles under those headlines are washed out. These are the symbols of the limits of my own subconscious, and they give it form, taunting me with the physical reminder that my dream volumes will always remain unreadable.